El sueño de ofrecer oportunidad de educación a una Colombia ávida de innovación dio vida a la UNAD. La UNAD nace con el nombre de Unisur, mediante la Ley 52 de 1981, como un establecimiento público adscrito al Ministerio de Educación Nacional y transformada por el Congreso de la República, mediante la Ley 396 de 1997, en Universidad Nacional Abierta y a Distancia UNAD, hoy un ente universitario autónomo y autosostenible. La UNAD cimenta su formación académica ofreciendo más de 1.200 cursos virtuales en campus, haciendo uso apropiado de herramientas tecnológicas para que miles de colombianos de todos los estratos accedan a una educación con cobertura, pertinencia y calidad. La UNAD transmite saberes, une culturas, teje relaciones sociales y brinda calidad de vida. El orgullo de ser unadista va más allá de cualquier concepto. Es una actitud de vida, una identidad única que se manifiesta en autonomía, solidaridad, emprendimiento y liderazgo con responsabilidad, para así generar soluciones y contribuir al desarrollo humano sostenible. La imprenta de Gutenberg, las tintas y el papel de impresión, al transcurrir de los siglos, se han transformado en pantallas luminosas y procesos digitales complejos que han disminuido los tiempos y eliminado las distancias. La UNAD entrega la tecnología a sus estudiantes, vinculándolos a los nuevos lenguajes de la virtualidad y la globalización, para así tener la posibilidad de visionar el mundo que habitamos. Hoy se experimentan cambios fundamentales en todas las dinámicas del quehacer humano. El acceso al conocimiento ofrece una nueva posibilidad. La UNAD, como pionera en Colombia, aporta una pedagogía que se apoya en las tecnologías de la información y las comunicaciones, dando una solución a los problemas de cobertura y calidad, con programas de formación que tienen como escenario de aprendizaje el ciberespacio. La virtualidad es el modelo que rompió el paradigma de la educación tradicional a nivel global. Esta actividad distingue el actuar de una verdadera academia. Su accionar frente a la investigación formativa y a la acción participativa se genera para la obtención de nuevos conocimientos y su aplicación para la solución de problemas. La UNAD dedica grandes esfuerzos y recursos a este objetivo misional. Su reconocimiento en este campo es sobresaliente, gracias al importante aporte de su sistema de gestión de investigación y sus semilleros, que generan conocimiento sin descanso. De aquí parte nuestro compromiso con las comunidades y poblaciones que no han tenido acceso a una formación técnica, sociohumanística y comunitaria. Con los progresos tecnológicos del nuevo siglo en materia de comunicación aeroespacial, la UNAD ha trascendido distancias a través de sus campus virtuales, de sus laboratorios remotos, simuladores y medios de comunicación. La educación virtual es la mejor opción para personas emprendedoras con visión de futuro y actitud de transformación frente al cambio de paradigmas. Ser unadista es construir esperanza, realizando sueños. Es transformar tu vida para un mejor país.
Hola, soy Diana Torres, soy estudiante de Ingeniería de Sistemas en la UNAD. Me desempeño como consultora de tecnologías Microsoft y soy Microsoft MVP en el área de Cloud and Data Center Management. La educación virtual es el futuro. Los beneficios de estudiar en la UNAD son la flexibilidad, asesoría y apoyo. Puedo ajustar mis horarios, realizar todos los trabajos desde cualquier lugar. Es una ventana muy abierta de posibilidades para que ustedes puedan lograr cada una de las metas que se proponen. Al igual que yo, ustedes pueden cumplir los sueños.
El sueño de ofrecer oportunidad de educación a una Colombia ávida de innovación dio vida a la UNAD. La UNAD nace con el nombre de UNISUR, mediante la Ley 52 de 1981, como un establecimiento público adscrito al Ministerio de Educación Nacional y transformada por el Congreso de la República, mediante la Ley 396 de 1997, en Universidad Nacional Abierta y a Distancia UNAD, hoy un ente universitario autónomo y autosostenible. La UNAD cimenta su formación académica ofreciendo más de 1.200 cursos virtuales en campus, haciendo uso apropiado de herramientas tecnológicas para que miles de colombianos de todos los estratos accedan a una educación con cobertura, pertinencia y calidad. La UNAD transmite saberes, une culturas, teje relaciones sociales y brinda calidad de vida. El orgullo de ser unadista va más allá de cualquier concepto. Es una actitud de vida, una identidad única que se manifiesta en autonomía, solidaridad, emprendimiento y liderazgo con responsabilidad, para así generar soluciones y contribuir al desarrollo humano sostenible. La imprenta de Gutenberg, las tintas y el papel de impresión, al transcurrir de los siglos, se han transformado en pantallas luminosas y procesos digitales complejos que han disminuido los tiempos y eliminado las distancias. La UNAD entrega la tecnología a sus estudiantes, vinculándolos a los nuevos lenguajes de la virtualidad y la globalización, para así tener la posibilidad de visionar el mundo que habitamos. Hoy se experimentan cambios fundamentales en todas las dinámicas del quehacer humano. El acceso al conocimiento ofrece una nueva posibilidad. La UNAD, como pionera en Colombia, aporta una pedagogía que se apoya en las tecnologías de la información y las comunicaciones, dando una solución a los problemas de cobertura y calidad, con programas de formación que tienen como escenario de aprendizaje el ciberespacio. La virtualidad es el modelo que rompió el paradigma de la educación tradicional a nivel global.
Hola, sean bienvenidos todos ustedes al auditorio Jaime Alberto Leal, afanador de la Universidad Nacional Abierta y a Distancia. Del programa de comunicación social y periodismo de nuestra universidad. Los voy a estar acompañando en esta transmisión. Les damos la bienvenida a todos ustedes, estudiantes que hacen parte de nuestro proceso. Bienvenidos a nuestro auditorio y por supuesto también a las personas que en este momento nos están viendo a través de nuestra transmisión de streaming. Bienvenidos todos ustedes a nuestro International Girls in ICT Day. Hoy vamos a tener una agenda bastante interesante dentro de nuestro auditorio. Vamos entonces a iniciar con varios elementos de nuestra agenda. Por favor, si se colocan de pie, vamos con el himno nacional de nuestra República de Colombia. Muy bien, a continuación vamos con el himno de nuestra Universidad Nacional Abierta y a Distancia UNAD. Muy bien, se pueden sentar, muchas gracias. Muy amables. Vamos a continuación con nuestras palabras de inauguración. Invito al ingeniero Héctor Julián Parra, quien es el líder nacional de los programas de formación tecnológicos de la cadena electrónica, redes y comunicaciones, para que nos entregue la apertura de nuestro evento.
Bueno, gracias. Buen día para todos. Desde el CEAD de Ibague, desde la Escuela de Ciencias Básicas, Tecnologías e Ingenierías y por supuesto desde la cadena ETR, Electrónica, Telecomunicaciones y Redes, damos la apertura a este evento llamado International Girls in ICT Day de Cisco. Básicamente, esta propuesta nace desde la Academia Cisco como una vinculación más profunda hacia ustedes, las mujeres, con el fin de que puedan vincularse a todo lo que tiene que ver con las tecnologías de la información y la comunicación. Entonces, esta estrategia busca más participación activa de cada una de ustedes, no solamente en otras áreas, sino en las áreas de las telecomunicaciones y las redes, que permitan fortalecer este campo con la experiencia que puede brindar cada una de ustedes. Para mí es un placer poder dar la apertura a este evento tan importante y esperando que se continúen incentivando en los diferentes eventos a las mujeres para que participen en todas estas grandes propuestas y proyecciones que tiene las diferentes empresas para ustedes. Muchísimas gracias.
Vamos a continuación a realizar una actividad bastante interesante. Vamos a dar un pequeño recorrido por algunas de las escuelas que hacen parte de nuestra universidad. Vamos a iniciar entonces con la Escuela de Ciencias Administrativas, Contables, Económicas y de Negocios ECACEN. Sí, claro. Recibámoslo con un fuerte aplauso si son tan amables. Gracias.
Bueno, reciban un cordial saludo, mis estimados asistentes. En nombre de nuestra universidad, en nombre de nuestra escuela, esta es su casa. Esperamos, hoy es un día importante, pero esperamos seguirlos compartiendo con ustedes muchos momentos, tanto académicos, lúdicos, como se pueden dar cuenta, nuestra universidad es muy dinámica, tenemos muchos eventos, muchas actividades. Yo también tuve la oportunidad de estudiar en el CAS, ¿sí? Y pues no me imaginaba, pues que imagínense cómo la vida da vueltas y ahora soy docente, gracias a, pues, a esa oportunidad que me dieron mis padres digamos, la academia. Entonces, esperamos que algún día muchos de ustedes que puedan lograr realizar sus estudios con la UNAD puedan estar aquí también al frente acompañándolos como docentes, ¿de acuerdo? En nombre de la escuela ECACEN, es una escuela de ciencias administrativas y contables, económicas y de negocios ECACEN. Actualmente nosotros tenemos varios programas, los cuales tenemos maestría en organizaciones, maestría en gestión financiera, especialización en finanzas corporativas, especialización en gerencia de mercadeo, especialización en gerencia de proyectos. También tenemos programas de administración de empresas, contaduría, economía, negocios internacionales, tecnología en gestión agropecuaria, tecnología en gestión comercial y de negocios, tecnología en gestión de empresas asociativas y organizaciones comunitarias, tecnología en gestión de obras civiles y construcciones, tecnología en gestión de transportes, tecnología en gestión industrial, y también tenemos muchos programas que actualmente ya están próximos a salir y ser ofertados. Entonces, la invitación no solamente es para ustedes, sino también para sus familiares, para sus amigos, que también si tienen desean pertenecer a nuestra universidad, estamos aquí prestos a asesorarlos, a acompañarlos. Esa es su casa de estudios, estaremos aquí atentos y recién un cordial saludo de bienvenida y aquí estaremos con las puertas abiertas. Muchísimas gracias.
Muy bien, esa era la Escuela de Ciencias Administrativas, Contables, Económicas y de Negocios ECACEN. Vamos a continuación con la Escuela de Ciencias Agrícolas, Pecuarias y de Medio Ambiente ECAPMA.
Bueno, muy buenos días. Mi nombre es Carlos Guillermo Mesa, soy docente tiempo completo de la Escuela de Ciencias Agrícolas, Pecuarias y el Medio Ambiente. Esta es una escuela la cual le permite a todos los estudiantes estar más cerca del agro colombiano. Estamos relacionados con el campo y por eso nosotros tenemos programas de formación enfocados a nuestro sector agropecuario y tenemos cadenas de formación enfocadas a estas temáticas. Tenemos allí unos programas tecnológicos y unos programas profesionales. Cuando yo hablo de la cadena pecuaria, me refiero al programa de tecnología en producción animal y el programa profesional de zootecnia, el cual pues evidentemente propende por la proyección, en este caso de la producción animal, teniendo en cuenta el desarrollo sostenible en procura de tener una producción animal limpia, teniendo obviamente una preservación de nuestros recursos naturales. Cuando hablamos de la cadena agroforestal, hablamos del programa de ingeniería agroforestal y el programa de tecnología en manejo y comercialización agroforestal, dos programas enfocados al manejo del territorio, al manejo de los espacios, teniendo en cuenta la cultura de la proyección y de la protección de nuestros recursos naturales. La cadena de formación ambiental tiene el programa de ingeniería ambiental, que en este momento estamos en proceso de renovación del registro calificado, y el programa de tecnología en saneamiento ambiental, que propende por la protección de nuestros recursos naturales, pero atendiendo las problemáticas ambientales que se generan alrededor de la situación antrópica del hombre. Y la cadena agrícola, que tiene el programa de agronomía profesional y el programa de tecnología en producción agrícola, efectivamente, teniendo una producción agrícola también de manera limpia, en procura de la protección de nuestros recursos naturales, con el agro colombiano. Esas son las 4 cadenas de formación que tiene la Escuela de Canto.
Muy bien, esa era nuestra Escuela de Ciencias Agrícolas, Pecuarias y de Medio Ambiente, CAPMA. Vamos a continuación con la Escuela de Ciencias de la Educación, CEAD. Invitamos a Camila. Hola, Camila. Fuerte aplauso para Camila.
Buenos días a todos. Bienvenidos a la universidad. Mi nombre es María Camila, soy docente de la Escuela de Ciencias de la Educación. En esta escuela ustedes pueden encontrar las licenciaturas. Tenemos licenciatura en etnoeducación, licenciatura en filosofía, licenciatura en pedagogía infantil, licenciatura en lenguas extranjeras con énfasis en inglés. Tenemos licenciatura en matemáticas. Además tenemos 3 especializaciones: especialización en educación superior a distancia, especialización en educación, cultura y política, pedagogía para el desarrollo del aprendizaje autónomo y 3 maestrías. Bienvenidos a la universidad, y si tienen alguna información o quieren alguna información con respecto a alguno de los programas de licenciatura, con mucho gusto. Gracias.
Muy bien, ahí estaba nuestra Escuela de Ciencias de la Educación, CEAD. A continuación vamos a hacer el recorrido por nuestra Escuela de Ciencias Sociales, Artes y Humanidades, nuestra Escuela de la SASH. Invitamos a César Guerra, nuestro director del programa de comunicaciones.
Hola, ¿cómo les va? Un saludo cordial. Mi nombre, pues ya como le dijo el compañero Sebastián, soy César Guerra, soy el líder de comunicación social. Hoy vengo a representar pues al programa de comunicación social, más que todo artes visuales, que es como el fuerte mío. Y a la escuela como tal, que la Escuela de Ciencias Sociales, Artes y Humanidades, pues toca varios elementos allí que son importantes, que podemos ver en diferentes programas, como la filosofía, la sociología, la psicología, artes visuales, comunicación, gestión deportiva, música, que son como los que conforman nuestro programa. Y allí mismo podemos ver cómo esas artes humanas pues ayudan a construir al humano, como si, a la persona como tal. La sensibilidad humana es algo muy importante, y que bueno, que a pesar de que tengamos tecnologías, que tengamos agrícolas y que tengamos en otros espacios, este programa y esta escuela se basa en lo que te construye como persona. Y creo que en algún momento nosotros nos hemos sentado a filosofar, o en algún momento nos hemos sentado a escuchar música y a comprenderla. En otros momentos pues nos comunicamos casi que el 70-100% del día. Entonces el saber comunicarse, el saber expresarse, el saber utilizar los medios digitales, el generar contenido digital para sus redes sociales. Bueno, aquí abarcamos varios puntos importantes. También tenemos unas especializaciones, unas maestrías en comunicación, pero pues básicamente eso es lo que tiene el programa de Ciencias Sociales, Artes y Humanidades, y pues prestos para lo que ustedes necesiten. Tenemos varios comunicadores. Acá tenemos al presentador, que ustedes ya le escucharon su voz y su cuento. Que él es pues él trabaja mucho en los medios. Eso quiere decir que los docentes de acá no son personas allí buscadas de por allí, sino que son personas que han estudiado, que han hecho sus especializaciones, sus maestrías, sus doctorados, y que hoy por hoy pues pueden hacerse cargo de educarlos de una manera más de calidad, por así decirlo. ¿Listo? Entonces nada, pues muchas gracias y bienvenidos entonces al UNAM, ¿vale?
Muy bien, vamos a hacer un recorrido con nuestro Instituto Virtual de Lenguas INVIL.
Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Good or bad? Great to hear that. Bueno, muchachos, mi nombre es Camilo Caicedo, soy tutor de inglés perteneciente al Instituto Virtual de Lenguas de la universidad, y los quiero invitar a que hagan parte de nuestro instituto. Tenemos diferentes cursos para diferentes idiomas, como lo son el inglés, francés, portugués, para todas las edades, niños, jóvenes como ustedes, también adultos. Incluso si ustedes tienen algún crush así en Estados Unidos, Europa, Australia, también ofrecemos un curso de español para que ellos aprendan a hablar pues nuestro idioma, y así sea más fácil comunicarse con ustedes. Si no, pues lo pueden hacer de manera inversa. Ustedes aprenden a hablar inglés y se pueden comunicar mejor para ellos. Nuestros cursos son 100% virtuales, lo pueden Los pueden realizar desde cualquier parte del mundo, eso es lo interesante. Duran 3 meses cada nivel y pues tenemos varios niveles. So guys, si quieren aprender a hablar español, sus crush internacionales, if you want to speak English, si vous voulez parler le français, bueno, en portugués no sé cómo decirlo porque no sé, los invito a que hagan parte de nuestros cursos. Pueden preguntar si vienen acá al campus por los tutores de inglés, nos van a encontrar en las oficinas del fondo, o nos pueden seguir en nuestro fanpage de Facebook, UNAD Invil Ibague, y con gusto estaremos prestos a ayudarles en cualquier cosa que necesiten. So that's all for today, guys. See you around.
Ok, muy bien. Nos quedaría solo nuestra Escuela de Ciencias Básicas, Tecnología e Ingeniería SBTI. Invitamos al ingeniero Alexander o al ingeniero, al ingeniero Juan entonces. Juan Esteban Tapias, quien es especialista en nuestra Academia de Cisco en nuestra Universidad Nacional Abierta de Distancia.
Ok, buenos días para todas, o todas porque la mayoría son mujeres y los que estamos acá en este recinto. Qué gusto tenerlas con nosotros en esta mañana de hoy. El propósito de este evento principalmente es poder exaltar y magnificar la figura de la mujer dentro de lo que son las tecnologías de información. Y por eso, desde Cisco, pues hemos querido desarrollar y trabajar en este evento. Voy a mencionarles muy cortamente qué es Cisco Academy, a qué hace referencia a eso, y luego nos vamos a conectar a una transmisión internacional que está sucediendo en este momento, desarrollada por Cisco. Pero antes, les hablo un poco como delegado también de la Escuela de Ciencias Básicas, Tecnología e Ingeniería, sobre los programas que ofertamos con referencia a esto. Entonces tenemos de diferentes tipos de tecnologías como calidad alimentaria, producción de audio, automatización electrónica, desarrollo de software, gestión de redes de acceso de telecomunicaciones, que ahorita ya no está con inscripciones, sino que ya está la tecnología de gestión de redes inalámbricas y la tecnología en logística industrial. Además, pues contamos con algunos programas, varios programas profesionales. Tenemos el programa de diseño industrial, ingeniería de alimentos, ingeniería industrial, de multimedia, sistemas, telecomunicaciones y electrónica. Y pues ya contamos con varias especializaciones y maestrías, pues no voy a mencionarlas, pero pues quiero que vean que hay un abanico y una cantidad de programas suficientes para que puedan con nuestra universidad continuar con esa formación profesional. Ahora les hablo rápidamente, ya por el tiempo, sobre lo que es Cisco Academy. Cisco International es una multinacional, tiene presencia en más de 180 países, en todo lo que es, ellos trabajan con todo lo que es el tema de tecnologías e infraestructura de telecomunicaciones. Entonces, más o menos, para cerca del año 90 y pico, sobre la década de los 90, ellos enfocaron todo ese esfuerzo profesional, lo enfocaron en la parte social y académica y fundaron las Academias Cisco. Nosotros acá en la universidad nos convertimos en Academia Cisco a partir del año 2007, es decir, más de 15 años de experiencia en todo lo que son los cursos de Academia Cisco. Y hoy somos centro de soporte Cisco adicional a esto. ¿Qué quiere decir esto? Pues que damos soporte a otras academias acerca de todos los cursos, todos los programas y todo lo que desarrolla Cisco Academy, siendo una de las academias de tecnología más importantes a nivel mundial. Entonces, hoy Cisco ha querido desarrollar o trabajar lo que es el Día Internacional de la Mujer en las TIC, que son las tecnologías de información. Entonces, por eso les hemos invitado y agradecemos su invitación para que conozcan un poco más lo que Cisco está haciendo. Y quisiera, ingeniero Jorge, si me ayudas a pasar hasta la siguiente slide, por favor, la siguiente. Bueno, eso es lo que les mencionó ahorita, algunos reconocimientos que hemos tenido. Siguiente, por favor. Algunos de nuestros servicios, voy a pasarlo rápido porque vamos a conectarnos ya. Dejarlo ahí, ingeniero, por favor, la anterior. Sí, por favor. Entonces, quiero invitarlas porque parte de lo que vamos a ver en un momento, que vamos a conectarnos con la transmisión internacional, tiene que ver con lo que está haciendo en este momento Cisco. Entonces, si alguna quisiera y tiene la forma de tomar ahí el código QR para que puedan, o si quieren copiar ese enlace, para que puedan accesar a esta página. Desde allí hay unos cursos gratuitos y una información importante que Cisco quiere brindarles a todas, no importa el nivel de formación, no importa si tienen experiencia en tecnología o no. La idea de este evento justamente es que ustedes puedan, digamos, motivarse a participar en los programas y en todo lo que tenga que ver con los temas de tecnología, ingenierías, etcétera. Por eso les hemos presentado también esa opción desde nuestra universidad para, si ustedes lo desean, cuando finalicen su formación académica en el nivel de bachillerato, pues puedan continuar también con nosotros. Entonces les invito para que puedan tenerlo en cuenta y vamos entonces a conectarnos con nuestra transmisión internacional desde Cisco Academy para que conozcamos un poco ya lo que es y lo que ellos tienen preparado para el día de hoy. Entonces, de nuevo, gracias por la invitación, gracias por asistir y por aceptar la invitación y nos conectamos entonces con la transmisión.
Transit circuits, so that's how they actually get the best possible experience. And also the other thing I get to do at Ride Direct is like we work against any malicious traffic or anything that's like a DDoS attack. So we make sure that all of these things are protected, and we are making sure that we do not like drop legitimate traffic over malicious traffic. So we need to make sure that the traffic has been passed correctly, and then we are not actually giving the wrong experience. The other thing I get to work with at Ride Direct is like esports. So esports is like one of our platform. We actually help them providing connectivity so that they can actually do their audio and video streamings. So they need to like have their audio feed sent from one part of the world to the other part of the world, like from example from Dublin to Seattle. In order to give this connectivity and rapid service, they need to have like really high bandwidth of links that's actually being used to pass the data from one part to another. So I help them get connected through this. And the last and the final one, as I said before, like operations is just my favorite thing in networking, because you get to do real-time problems and then you just get the solution to it right away. And then I just love to do that. I need to make sure that all the lights are green, and then everyone's happy if it's all green. So that's how the networking terms looks like for any kind of network issues. That's what I do at Riot. So another Riot value that I really resonate with is stay hungry, stay humble. So learning curve never stops. Every single day when the new challenges comes in or new issues come in, it's all completely, totally different from the previous one. So every day it's a new learning. So the learning never stops. So as I said, I started at education training, and the best thing I did was to start early. When I was interested in it, I made sure that I just have to start right away. If I just kept thinking about if I should do or should not do, because this sounded really impossible at first place, because no one around, like in my bachelor's or master's degree, I didn't had any role model or any woman who was actually into this industry. So it was really difficult in the beginning to get started. But then I always recommend to start early, whatever you feel like or are passionate about. The other thing that actually helped me being at the top of the game is my mentors and my peers. So we have mentors. I have mentors in my team who help me connect the dots. So basically, during education and trainings, you know that multiple dots exist. During mentors and with peers, we know how to connect these dots. And when you actually know how to connect these dots, you basically get to actually design the dots together as you feel like. So knowledge transfer is one of like the best tool, and it's helping us and also helping the other person at the same time. Small achievable goals are really important because if the goals are not achievable and it's not completed in time, you feel the fatigue out of it, and you don't and you feel demotivated at one point, because you feel like there's nothing that's going to the right direction. Everything is taking time. Maybe I'm not good enough. And then you start to question yourself, maybe did you do the right decision? So I always recommend creating small achievable goals so that you know you're on point, and then small step at a time then makes the journey very happy. And then the only thing that I would always say is like, I want to be a network engineer ninja, and I want everyone else to also follow the same thing, and we create a big ninja group together as a network engineer. So the big picture, as I already said, these are the milestones I've achieved during the whole career trajectory. In 2010, I did my bachelor's. 2016, I did my master's in science. This was the milestone that I've achieved, creating my engineering degree and certification. In 2016, I planned to give the CCNA and CCNP exam to get in depth for the deep dive into the networking. This was a major milestone and a turning point to get network engineer as my career path and how I can pursue this. As soon as I was out of college, I started interviewing different companies for a network engineer role. The first role which I got was a company called Fuse FX, and I was the only woman in the networking team. It's called the IT team, actually. No other women was in the team at that time. So I actually was like, okay, I really see a problem here. Like, there should be a lot more engineering women here. And the network team was pretty nice. And then I got like good experience around it. It was a visual effects company. So the area or the area was completely different than my current role. But the experience I got out of it, I still has that impact on me. So as we move along the path in the career, each experience count, each lesson count, and the learning never stops. So in 2017, I was working at Fuse FX. And in 2018, I started looking for different roles, which I could challenge myself. And I wanted to keep pursuing this dream to become and be in a place where I can follow my passion more and be more challenged so that I can be where I want to be. So Riot Games was the best opportunity for me so that I can have fun as well as follow my passion at the same time. So I started working at Riot Games in 2018 and currently I'm working there. 2017, I was working at Fuse FX, and in 2018, I started looking for different roles, which I could challenge myself, and I wanted to keep pursuing this dream to become and be in a place where I can follow my passion more and be more challenged, so that I can be where I want to be. So Riot Games was the best opportunity for me, so that I can have fun as well as follow my passion at the same time. So I started working at Riot Games in 2018, and it's nothing that you can't do. Everything is possible. 2017, I was working at Fuse FX, and in 2018, I started looking for different roles, which I could help challenge myself, and I wanted to keep.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Sana. And for those of you who were inspired and are ready to pursue a career as a network engineer, find a Cisco Networking Academy near you for CCNA and CCNP courses. Scan the QR code on screen or follow the link in the chat for more information. Sana, our viewers have been sending in questions for you in the chat. You mentioned several times that learning never stops for you. Was there a big difference in how you learned from instructor-guided to self-paced? During my certification training, I actually pursued both types of training, self-paced learning as well as instructor-led training. So for the self-paced learning is for a few of the things that you are actually good at something or you already know something and you on the side want to get deep dive into like a technology area or some certain area where you can actually as a part-time or on the side can do like a self-paced training because you do not have a deadline. You do not have to report to anyone, for example. But in case if you're making a career trajectory and certification like CCNA are like the basic fundamental to be part of a network engineer, the instructor-led training is like more and more relevant because you have someone you can ask question right away. Someone's there to always answer your question. They also help you to actually practically demonstrate what you're actually seeing on a slide. Doing this yourself at the very beginning can be really challenging and tough. If you have a mentor or a guide or an instructor at that moment of time helps you
add 1 plus 1, and then you can actually draw the picture together. And then you also keep on the timeline of how you are finishing this course. If this like a 3 weeks or 6 week course, you are 100% sure that you will be able to get through it along with the instructor in 6 weeks, and then that's like a fixed timeline around it. Self-paced, on the other hand, there's no limit on the time. It's not as important if you feel over and prioritize over other work, for example. So I think instructor-led training for a critical and fundamental course like CCNA is like a great start. These skills that we acquire via fundamental learning for routing, switching, networking, ISP, service provider, or any kind of networking technologies, these skills are globally relevant. Everyone on the globe uses internet. Everyone play games in like, for example. So everyone needs like a good internet connectivity from across the globe. So these skills are like will never end. Like everyone needs to know how these all things work, and they always need it. So these skills are one of the passport to anywhere in the world.
Wow, I learned something from that. Okay, last one. As a gamer, how easy is it for me to transfer my skills to pursuing an IT career? What skills are similar?
Yes, absolutely. I'm a gamer. I love playing games. It's one of my passion as well. So more than PC games, I actually play a lot of escape rooms, puzzles, board games. These are like one of the areas of interest for me. Apart from League of Legends team fight tactics, that's one of the game I'm currently into. So being a gamer and also a network engineer, there are few areas that overlap. I think one of them I would say is problem solving. So all of these games require planning, adaptability, experimentations, and over time, more and more you get better at it. So it seems applies to any role in a career where there are challenges, there are obstacles that you basically have to figure out a way on how to find a solution on something. How these puzzles can be solved in real life scenarios and situation as a network engineer. And all of these approaches can seek to a successful solution based on how you develop your mind to actually solve a problem. The other thing that I would say is critical thinking. So during a computer game, it has multiple risks and consequences. So usually the gamers, they understand the way to analyze the alternative and what best judgment can be used in a case where something goes wrong. These judgments are usually during a game needs to be made in the blink of eye. One click can actually make a big difference. So when it comes to business or any engineering career, panic decisions can actually lead to devastating results. So critical thinking around solutions or fixing a problem on how to analyze something really makes a difference. And to add up to it, I'll add like the last one is to have fun. Like games are played to have fun, and it actually one of the things that I also see in my career. So if you working on something that makes you happy, I just take like having fun would be one of the best one that I would look up to in my career.
Girls in ICT Day's theme this year is access and safety. And we have founder of GamerSafer, Maria Tamilini, here to show you how she scales safe, positive, and fair play experiences for gamers worldwide. Welcome, Maria.
My name is Maria Oliveira Tamilini, and I was born and raised in Brazil, moved to the US 6 years ago, and I am a daughter of a kindergarten teacher and a truck driver. They never touched technology. Today, I'm a founder working in tech and in games. One day, I was a girl, like many of you, dreaming about what my future could be. At that time, I lived in a countryside city, and I didn't have any support like this program to think about having a tech career or to work in games. Actually, let me tell you one thing. When I was 18 years old, when I managed to have my first computer, and mobiles didn't have half of the features that we have today. So you may be thinking, how I founded and leading now a global tech company that now serves more than 30 countries worldwide. I could share many things with you, but to make this story short, I am here today because, number one, I never limited myself, even when people and circumstances were limiting. It was not easy, but I found to be possible. Number two, I have always been curious and passionate about solving problems that affect myself, my surroundings, and the humanity in different ways. And number three, I've been always creating to bring people in whatever I was working on because it's really hard to solve problems and change the world working alone. Today, I lead all things operations at GamerSafer, and I advise and contribute with many organizations that you can see in this slide. They're all making a positive impact in online spaces. As I said, I've been always curious about solving real problems, problems that are affecting society in many ways, and that's how I ended founding my first company. It was in the social impact space. I don't know if you're familiar with this concept, but social impact is a significant positive change that addresses a pressing social challenge. But what are some examples of those pressing problems? Here are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Here we talk about fighting poverty, hunger, promoting gender equality, increasing sanitation. That's how I connected with many communities in my home country, Brazil, and that's how I realized that I was super passionate about working with impact. So when I moved to Silicon Valley a few years ago, I started connecting with the role that technologies play in impact. And I started to questioning myself if technology was not only solving impacts, but also creating and accelerating problems that we see in our world. So I became obsessed by solving problems that affect online users, especially young users. The 4 C's that you see here in this slide are an example of that. Instead of explaining all these different 4 C's, I want you to imagine a few situations. I know you are connected on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Discord, and of course, play games. So help me here. Imagine a 7-year-old receiving violent videos in her WhatsApp, or 11 years old getting nude images from a young adult on Instagram, or an adult pretending to be a teenager to take advantage of a young user. You could have been bullied online. It's possibly that some private images that you have were shared without your consent. It's even possible that you clicked in some malicious links that ended installing your passwords, compromising your accounts. These are challenges that I couldn't run away from because they affect me, you, and them. These are my kids. Everything and I work for is to protect them, is to create a better world for them and for children like them, like you. I didn't mention, but I also love playing games. My older kids also play games too. So gaming became my new place to be. And thinking about scale, relevance, and influence, it's just the perfect place for someone wanting to thrive and impact. But who else is playing? I want you to meet Oliver, Maya, Tom, and Helen. They're playing games for different reasons. They have different ages, they are based in different countries, and why they're here, why I'm presenting this to you. I'm presenting this because games are no longer a place of stereotypes. You can't define a gamer by age, gender, number of hours played, the types of games they play. We are 30 billion gamers worldwide. It's a lot of people. Just to give you an example, 88% of 13 to 17 years old play games in the US, and I believe in your countries as well. The number is not that different. And 98% of young players reported positive experiences while they're playing. Games are this fantastic place to promote connection, to connect us even with STEAM careers, and to find friends, to have fun, to socialize, right? At the same time, games became more social, right? Social platforms. They create all these different words, and many online challenges popped up. Racism, sexism, scams, bullying, duplicated accounts, discrimination, predation. These are just examples of problems that are happening inside games. And they are compromising games' mission to foster positive fair play and connections for players of all identities. And we're not talking small numbers. 81% of players experience harassment in the most popular games. 37% of players cheat. And when we look into those numbers regarding harassment, 53% of online multiplayer gamers reported they were targeted because of their race, ethnicity, religion, ability status, gender, or sexual orientation. How many of you were targeted just because you were a girl, a female player, or just because you have an accent? These problems, of course, affect players, but also lead to user churn and financial losses. GamerSafer estimates that toxicity represents a $10 billion problem for this industry. So my co-founder and I went to investigate the root causes of those problems, and what we found was the combination of anonymity with non-personalized player matching. Think about your gameplay and the times you reported someone for consistently threatening you, for example. It's common finding hard to make them accountable or being punished, and even when the game does so, nothing prevents them to create a new account under a new email and username and rejoin the game a few minutes later. Another great example, thinking about a pool of players. Why should I match a player that was previously reported by being sexist with a kick-ass female player? It's not going to be a great experience for her. Or an adult with a kid. These are all angles we're leveraging to deliver a meaningful change in this space. And that's why GamerSafer was born, to be part of the solution and to change a systemic problem that affects millions of players every day. GamerSafer's mission is to scale safety and fair play to millions of players worldwide. And we seek to eradicate crimes and to reduce severe transgressions. As I said, games should be a place that welcomes everyone. Everyone should feel they belong to the games they love. So GamerSafer tackles sources of risks, threats, and harms in games, and we created a cross-platform gaming ID powered by AI and computer vision, and the way it works is simple. Multiplayer games connect with our services, and they invite their players to create a gaming ID with us. You will download our app. It's available for Android and iOS. And through this process, you will prove with liveness detection that you are who you are, not a fake, and share your gaming preferences. Our software will capture all of that, anonymize all the personal information, and send a signal to the game saying that this player is real, you should protect your experience, here are some insights to provide a better gameplay for them. That way, your gaming account and experience will be protected. And this authentication happens in only 1 second and is compliant with all data privacy regulations. I'm happy to say the first major game using our technology is Minecraft, one of the largest in the world. We're also working with esports platforms and other services that involves online communities. Every day, GamerSafer protects more than 50 million players, and we would not be the company we are today without our guiding principles. Impact, safety, and privacy are at the core of everything we create. These are our guiding stars. They are all important, but I want to highlight the last one. Offer our services for free for all players. No matter where we are, we want to protect you at no cost. This is part of our impact. So now it's time to give you final words of encouragement. I didn't mention, but I don't have any technical degree. And if I could go back in time, I would definitely do a coding course or anything that helps me to understand how the technical piece of the business works. And the world is ours to conquer. Dream high, keeping educating yourselves, and find the lies that will help you to execute. I'm sure I'll be watching many of you one day on stage. I'm super excited to see that. And of course, don't forget to download our app. Keep safe and game on.
Thank you, Maria. I get so excited hearing stories like yours. You followed your passion, kept true to your values, and as a connector, surrounded yourself with people who helped you create a solution to keep gamers safe online. Fantastic. We had some questions come in for you from the chat, so let's take a few right now. One viewer asked, how did you partner with Minecraft?
That's a great question. Thanks for bringing that, Verta. So the fabulous thing about Minecraft is that you don't need to partner with Mojang to work with the servers. Basically, it's a server-owned ecosystem. All you have to do is to understand technology, deliver a great experience for your customers and for players, and game on. That's how we started working with them. And now, of course, Microsoft and Mojang are paying attention to everything we're doing and to the impact we are making in the ecosystem.
All right. Here's a good one. What was your greatest challenge when developing GamerSafer?
So I was thinking about all the challenges that I faced when I was starting. And one of the biggest challenges for me is not being technical, right? That's why I ended my presentation encouraging you to, maybe you don't want to be too technical, but at least understanding a few technical things that helps a lot when you are working in the tech space. So today I work more as a connector between all things technical and the word that is out there. And I have to catch up with a lot of things because I'm not technical. Now I feel more comfortable, but if I started young, that would be totally different today. That's why I'm even encouraging my own kids, and they're all doing computer science things and all of that because, you know, it's something that is super necessary in the world we live today.
Thank you for sharing that, Maria. Another viewer wants to know how you collaborated and connected with others to make this happen.
Well, I believe it facilitates that I am a people person, and I'm genuinely curious about what people are doing, what are their challenges, what they're working on. And by being curious about them, it's a consequence that they will be curious about me and about what I'm doing. One thing that I've been practicing a lot is to give back. So I have this specific time in my calendar where every Friday I help people from all over the world to, you know, design their projects, help them with their business plans. And I believe that this nature of being a giver also helped me to receive a lot from people. So that's how I think I started being more comfortable also about asking for help because I was sharing, I was doing so much. I did a lot of volunteering in my life. I helped so many people. And I think that empowered me to ask for help when I needed. And I have a community behind myself.
Up next, this one is a two-part question. How did your education influence where you are today? And if you had to do it all over again, what technology would you learn to make your job easier?
Most of the things that I achieved in my life, it was because I invested in my education. I didn't mention in my presentation, but I have a degree in environmental technology, international certification in social business, an MBA, all from reputable institutions in Brazil. And I still study every day. I actually was just researching a metaverse course before joining this presentation. In terms of languages and that I could encourage you to think about, instead of encouraging a specific segment, I would love to encourage thinking about a specific problem you can solve and how the technical piece can help you to achieve that. Because I think that connection, like that meaningful change that I just explained it's the best way of engaging with technology. And sometimes you need to talk with an engineer, with a friend, or with other people that are around you to make that decision. And definitely, if you can, don't do that alone. Find other people that can, join this journey with you, because when we share that journey, is also easier, right? So maybe grab a friend and you can start and select something to go together. Maybe you can even design a game. That's a very fun way of engaging and learning technology too. So these are just some thoughts. There are so many ways and possibilities in terms of technology today. It's just put a piece to start.
Great insights, Maria. Thanks for sharing those with us. Our next guest is CEO and founder of Coalition of Parents in Esports, Shay Williams. Thank you for being here with us today, Shay.
Thank you, Verda. It's really great to be here today. And we're talking about some of my favorite subjects, women in technology and esports inspiring success. My name is Shay Williams. I am known as Shaymon to the gamers online. And I am a parent who kind of saw the light when it comes to esports. I founded a nonprofit here called Coalition of Parents in Esports. And we really are setting out to tell the truth about what gaming can do to inspire success. So, what's the number one source of parent guilt in our world today? Yeah, you guessed it, screen time. We hear it all the time. Limit your children's screen time because it can interrupt their education. Sitting in a chair all day can damage their health. What career are they going to have if they're spending all their time playing video games? It can damage relationships. And what does this mean for your future? This is what we're constantly bombarded with in the media and from our peers. But is that the whole story? I mean, I'm a parent who everything is about moderation, but I also was watching my kids' screen time and realizing there was more to it. So my story, I'm a typical mom. I have two children, 17 and 19, and they grew up playing all kinds of sports. I was the mom that was reading all the magazines and the blogs telling me what to do. And so I took my kids to all kinds of sporting events. And I also, introduced technology to my kids because I am a computer science major. Technology is cool to me. So my kids, you see, car, they have on headphones. They also probably have iPads in their hands because technology was just part of our life. And playing video games was one of those things we did for fun. We did in our downtime. And yes, as a mom, I even used it as a babysitter in the back seat to keep them entertained. But I slowly found myself realizing that all this technology, playing Minecraft, playing Roblox, playing Sims, it was actually sparking interest in both of them. So we started going to conferences. You see us here at a couple of events where we were going to check out new technologies like VR and looking at the new games that were coming out. So I was a mom that kind of jumped in here, but I still didn't really think about it as competitive gaming or as a future business. It was just fun. It was a fun parent activity. But it all changed for me with my son because my son actually found competitive gaming. He did this all on his own, didn't have much support from me. He was definitely playing on a regular office computer, didn't have the fancy mouse or keyboard. But when Fortnite came out, he actually found something that he was really good at. And I was starting to see him spend more and more time in his room practicing that. He couldn't wait to get home from football practice so that he could actually practice his game. And like any mom, I was worried about it. What does this mean? He's not wanting to go to football practice because he wants to practice his games. And I didn't really understand that he was really getting into this. I started paying attention to him talking to his friends and talking to his teammates and realized that he was forming really incredible relationships here. He also started streaming on Twitch about this time. And I watched him building relationships with people who he was hiring to do work for him, whether it be graphic work to help him with his setups and his PCs. Some of the graphics you see here are designed by his graphic designer, who is a young woman in Turkey that he found online, networked with, and they've created all of his graphics. So I watched him doing all of this, but the light bulb moment for me was when we went to a competitive event in New York City for Fortnite World Cup. Now, my son didn't even actually qualify for it. He almost did. He came really close. But I had told him that if one of his friends qualified with, that we would go to and support them. So this was a big trip for us. We went up there that summer. And what I saw was amazing. I watched my kid, who was at the time 14 years old, networking with some of the biggest stars in esports, who, of course, as a mom, I had no idea who they were. I was pointing at everybody going, "Who's that?" And he's like, "Mom, that's Ninja, quit." And so I had no idea what any of this was, but what I saw is I saw my son inspired by this. I also saw people in the industry of esports building all these really cool businesses. And I also saw passion. I come from Web 2. I was in a software company that got acquired by IBM, and I always felt so incredibly lucky that I came out of college at the right time to be in that position of watching Web 2 grow. And here I was watching my 14-year-old son, who had already kind of found the next big deal in esports, and watching his excitement and everybody around him. So we traveled around a lot. This is him actually working and streaming at a Microsoft store. That's him actually at a Phase pop-up shop in LA, rivals in San Diego, and events in New York and in Toronto. So his gaming actually took him all over the place. And again, he wasn't the very best, but he was good, he worked hard, and he really focused on the things he was good at. So what do I see? I see the things that video games really do, especially with parent support. When you have parent support there, that just makes all the difference. And that's what I want to change. This is a sport just like any other. So it builds confidence. It helps you connect with family and friends. Again, I talked about his friendships online. They were every bit as meaningful as the ones he had in school, but also connections to family. This was an incredible bonding moment for my son and I as I jumped in here and helped him navigate this brave new world and figure out how to negotiate contracts and all these business skills that he was learning. It also inspires creativity and technical stuff and curiosity of all these ideas. My daughter was much more interested in the creative side. She pulled out her iPad. She was constantly drawing, designing, building in Sims and Minecraft. My son was more on the technical side. He wanted to know how things worked. One of the other things that it does is it helps us cope with stress in our lives. I mean, how many people come home from a really stressful day at work or at school and just want to play a video game and unwind, either by themselves or with a friend? Lots of studies that show that it is actually very good for that. And of course, it's fun. Anybody, loves doing something that's fun. And for any of you who've noticed, the picture here to our right is a kid named Skeptic, who is a rather famous gamer, also came from the Fortnite scene. And his dad is actually my co-founder for Coalition of Parents in Esports. We'll talk a little bit more about them in a second. So gaming, it builds real world skills. Streaming, gaming, all these things you learn really incredible transferable business skills here. I mean, there's the obvious: manual dexterity, problem solving, teamwork, just like any sport, effective communication. Anybody who plays on a team, especially when you're not in the same room, you've got to be good at communication. Time management, another place the parents come in great here, but time management is important. You've got to really dedicate your practice time to getting the most out of it. And then public speaking. If you're streaming, you're doing public speaking. You're doing that every time you get on and stream, and that's a really incredible skill to have. And then some kids find other skills that they find interesting here. Video editing. Some kids love creating the videos and posting on YouTube. Others realize they have a knack for graphic design. Branding, marketing, social media management, that's where my son really dove in. He found all that really fascinating. And then others are doing their own tournaments. I talk to kids every day who are planning their own tournaments in their school or among their friends. You're learning about production and planning and scheduling. Those are great things. But then there's some things that really point towards a technical degree here. So networking. If you are helping set up network optimization or stream setups for your friend, then maybe you consider taking a networking course from Cisco Network Academy. All of these things are great, and those things will lead you to these career paths. Are you interested in beta testing games? That's something my son loves to do. And I've talked to him about how all that really works, and maybe he should consider courses in automation and learning those things. And then, do you help your friends set up their PCs? This is the beginning of IT. My son is asked by all of his friends constantly to set up new stuff when they get PCs. And then my daughter, she's constantly building in Minecraft. So is my son. He actually became interested in building his own skins and doing his own stuff here. And that's the beginning of programming. So if you have an interest in that, maybe you should really look at Cisco Networking Academy's classes on programming. Analyzing tournament results. That's something that has been really fascinating to me, is to watch the kids that really dive into what it takes to be good and to score the right amount of points. That's all data analytics. Securing Discord servers, a big issue right now in our space, and hacking game sheets, all those things. Cybersecurity. My son has looked into those areas, and I'm actually really eager to have him take this class because that's something that he wants to learn a lot more about. And then the big thing here, I see this with this generation so much. There's so much entrepreneurial spirit here. Do you manage your own clan, your own esports team among your friends? Or have you started your own little business? That's your hustle. You should really look at taking the business class. So we mentioned Skeptic earlier, one of our famous gamers represented in our group. This is actually his dad. So you want to know, can esports actually help you get a career here? Yes, actually it can. And you actually have valuable assets that these businesses need. Not only have you gotten certified and you've gotten these great skills that they need, but you've actually been in this space. You understand how esports work. This is where the next generations are interacting. They're on all of these online social medias. They're playing video games. They demand authenticity, and you actually have that. Use what you love. Really use the power of what you found that you love here, because that's actually a strength. And then also leverage your connections. I can't say it enough. I'll say it a few times during this presentation. Really, those connections are key. And really reach out and get to know people. So how do you leverage what you've learned in gaming? Of course, networking, but also finding your passions. When you find those things that you really like that are associated with esports, whether it be the competitive side or the production or programming, whatever it is, learn everything and don't wait. Do it now. How does a gamer get IT biz cred? How can you show them that you actually can work and you aren't just a gamer? Well, education, of course, is important. But it doesn't always have to be a traditional 3 to 4 year college degree anymore. There are so many opportunities right now to take classes online and to actually get those certifications that are so powerful in getting a job. And Web3 is exploding already, and it's going to continue to over the next 10 years. This is creating so many new tech jobs, and we don't have enough people to fill the jobs that are available now. There's just going to grow. And this is such an exciting space. One of the things I love about Web3 is the gamers are on the cutting edge here. They're the ones who are exploring all of these worlds. And I really recommend jumping in because it's super exciting. I felt so lucky that I was part of Web2, and now I'm getting to watch Web3 through esports, which is just really great. And then companies need those proven skills. Get those industry certifications. They're really essential to getting a job right now. Networking, again, LinkedIn and Twitter, set it up. As soon as you're old enough to get on those, I really recommend getting on and focusing it around what you care about. Follow companies and personnel that interest you. Really see what they're talking about, and then reach out to them. They always want to hear from young people who want to learn about what they're doing. Find connections in the field you're interested in. Talk to them. Ask them how they got started. These are great ways to learn about what you want to do. And women, speak up. You can do this too. Reach out. And then, of course, internships. There's nothing like getting on-the-job training. Everybody needs help. Everybody loves bringing in young minds, especially in esports. My interns are all college and high school gamers because I need them to keep me honest. I tell a story all the time about Twitter that I don't send out a single tweet until one of our teenagers has actually reviewed it and made sure it's not too boomer. So what can you do to get your parents on board here especially? We call this bridging the generational digital divide. First thing is listen to your parents. They just want the best for you. And unfortunately, nobody has told them that esports actually could be the best for you. So listen to their concerns, listen to what they're worried about, and then ask their advice. Ask for their help with some of the things that you're trying to do that you need help with. And then show them what you love. Why do you love gaming? Tell them about the connections and the friends you're making and introduce them. That was a big turning point for me and my son, is when he started introducing me to his friends. And actually, it turned out to be really